Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig's Sports. This is the NBA DFS Core Pick video for today, Monday, December 11th. If you are joining me for the very first time, this is how today's video will be structured. We'll be going over all the injuries in play for today's 13-game NBA main slate. Then we'll go over to DraftKings and FanDuel and talk about my core picks. So it's going to be one player at each position. So point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. And then for the rest of the week, we will have recaps of the previous day. It's good to be back. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed that in-season tournament. Lakers ultimately end up winning. We'll talk about LeBron's legacy some other day. That's a story for a different time. But with that being said, we'll get into it for DFS for today with the injuries in play. So we're going to start off with the first game of the night. The Pacers, who are without Andrew Nembhard and Jalen Smith once again. Aaron Nesmith listed as questionable. We'll see whether or not he ends up playing tonight or not. Obviously, they are coming off that finals run in the in-season tournament. So we'll see if the Pacers team's a little bit worn down at this point in time or not. And then for the Detroit Pistons side, we got Jalen Duren and Monty Morris both out. Marvin Bagley listed as doubtful. So it'll be really interesting to see for Detroit if they move Isaiah Stewart over to the 5 or if they ultimately start James Wiseman or someone else at that spot tonight. Then we move over to Cleveland Cavaliers, who were without Ty Jerome, Karis LeVert, Evan Mobley, and Ricky Rubio. So Mobley did miss their most recent game. Dean Wade started in his place. So pretty much what we've seen out of them in their most recent game. And then for the Orlando Magic side, we got Wendell Carter and Markelle Fultz both out once again. And then Jonathan Isaac and Jalen Suggs both battling ankle injuries, both listed as questionable. Both did ultimately end up getting ruled out pretty quickly in their most recent games. So if Jalen Suggs is unable to go, we'll probably see Gary Harris back in that starting lineup once again and a couple extra minutes for Anthony Black just in general. For the Washington Wizards, they're without Johnny Davis, Ryan Rollins, Landry Shamet, and Duran Wright once again. So no real changes there. Daniel Gafford listed as questionable. He's dealing with a hip injury now, so we'll see whether or not he's ultimately good to go. And then on the 76ers side, we got Joel Embiid listed as questionable due to a knee injury. So hopefully he plays tonight. Obviously, he could be a pretty big part. The last time he did play the Wizards, he really went off in that game just in general. Then we move down to the Miami Heat, who are without Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and Haywood Highsmith once again. So pretty much what we've seen in their most recent game. For the Charlotte Hornets, Nick Smith Jr. and Mark Williams both listed as doubtful. And then we have LaMelo Ball, Caleb Martin, Frank Ntilikina all listed as out. So we're probably going to see Nick Richards start at center and then a couple extra minutes to go around for PJ Washington just in general. So both those guys become a little bit interesting on today's slate overall, but nothing too major at this point. And then for the Denver Nuggets, Kankar's out once again. Jamal Murray listed as probable due to his ankle injury. And then on the Hawks side, we got Bufkin, Guy, and Johnson all out once again. And DeAndre Hunter listed as questionable with a quad injury if he's unable to go. Pretty safe to assume that Bogdanovich would enter that starting lineup tonight. Then we move down to the Toronto Raptors, who are without Christian Koloko once again, and then Otto Porter Jr. will join him tonight. He's playing minimal minutes at that, so nothing major for DFS purposes. But on the opposite side of this game, we have some pretty big ones to talk about. So we have the New York Knicks without Mitchell Robinson. Isaiah Hartenstein will probably start in his place. You could see some run for Jericho Sims, so Hartenstein's going to be pretty interesting if he's in that starting lineup. And then they also have Jalen Brunson listed as questionable due to an ankle injury. Supposedly, he's more towards playing tonight, but we'll see if that's the case as the day moves along. Would not be surprised if he gets ruled out whatsoever. He did roll his ankle very late in that game versus the Celtics. I believe that was on Friday at this point in time. And then we move over to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Clark's out once again. Then we have McLaughlin, Daniels, and Anthony Edwards. All this is questionable for tonight. Anthony Edwards, he had been back for 2 games, but he did leave their most recent game after only 4 minutes. So we'll see whether or not he's good to play tonight or not. If he's not, it's probably Troy Brown entering that starting lineup once again. And then for the Pelicans side, we got Larry Nance and Matt Ryan both out once again, so no changes there whatsoever. The Spurs appear to be all the way healthy at this point in time. It will be interesting to see what their lineup looks like. It's been changing quite a bit as of late. So Victor Wembanyama starts at that center position once again. He's going to be a little bit more interesting. And then on the Rockets side, they're without Victor Oladipo once again. Qatari Easton is listed as questionable due to his leg coming off that injury that he did suffer. So we'll see how he looks today, whether or not he plays or not. And then Dillon Brooks listed as questionable due to an illness for today's game overall. If he's unable to go, would be kind of interesting to see who ultimately does enter that starting lineup, whether it's an Aaron Holiday, a Jeff Green, or someone else. Then we move down to the Chicago Bulls. Zach LaVine remains out. We got Alex Caruso listed as questionable. He's dealing with an ankle injury now. Sounds like he wasn't even able to practice yesterday, so could very much see Ayo Dosunmu enter that starting lineup. Him, Torrey Craig should get a couple extra minutes just at that. And then Patrick Williams listed as probable to play tonight. Then on the Bucks side, we got Jake Crowder and Pat Connaughton both out once again. Chris Livingston listed as questionable due to an ankle injury. He's been playing down in the G League, so we'll see whether or not he'll even be active tonight or not. But he's not a major part of the rotation either way. Then for the Utah Jazz, we got a little bit of news here. Walker Kessler being out. So last time was the first time that he had started in quite some time, tried to play those bigger minutes, and then did ultimately end up with a foot injury. So Kelly Olynyk, Omar Yurtseven could ultimately end up being values. Just kind of depends on who ultimately ends up starting in this game overall. And then Lauri Markkanen does remain out with his hamstring injury. On the opposite side, we got Lou Dort. This is questionable. If he's unable to go, be interesting to see who enters that starting lineup. They'll probably ultimately be a value piece on today's slate overall in that case. And then for the Dallas Mavericks, we got Josh Green, Kyrie Irving, Maxi Kleber, and Grant Williams. All this is out today. Dante Exum's actually played pretty decent in that starting lineup for them, but he's priced up at this point in time. Derrick Jones has been decent as well. So you can definitely take some shots here. We'll see who ultimately becomes that fifth starter today, whether it's Seth Curry, Jaden Hardy, Tim Hardaway Jr., or someone else. For the Memphis Grizzlies, we got Brandon Clark, Luke Kennard, Ja Morant, and Marcus Smart all out once again. Jake LaRavia is up to questionable at this point in time, so that is something that is going to happen soon, is that he will return, but it kind of remains to be seen how many minutes he'll actually play. And the front court's kind of the one part on this team where it's actually pretty loaded at this point in time. Then we move down to the Brooklyn Nets, who have Ben Simmons, Dennis Smith Jr., and Lonnie Walker all out once again. So pretty much what we've seen out of them in their most recent game. For the Sacramento Kings, Alex Len remains out. And then we have Colby Jones listed as questionable. We'll see whether or not he plays or not. He's dealing with a back injury, but not a major part of the rotation either way. Then Malik Monk is dealing with an illness. So if he's unable to go, the starting five is just going to look better just in general because he's not biting into any of their minutes. He's been playing pretty big minutes as of late. So kind of one of the guys hasn't been closing in favor of Malik Monk, whether it's Kevin Huerter or Harrison Barnes typically. So, if Monk misses, Kevin Huerter is going to look a little bit better. Harrison Barnes is going to look a little bit better as well. And then for the Portland Trailblazers, we have Jeremy Grant, Ish Wainwright both out, and then Malcolm Brogdon, DeAndre Ayton both listed as questionable due to their respective knee injuries. And then last but not least, we have the Clippers, who are without Diabate and Mason Plumlee today. Diabate is the newest one, but wasn't a major part of the rotation either way. But with that being said, that's a quick little rundown on all the injuries in play for tonight's slate. As always, if there's any updates throughout the day, we'll be leaving them down in the comments as well as those starting lineups throughout the night. But with that being said, we'll get over to DraftKings and talk about my core picks over there. So on the DraftKings side, we're going to start off at the point guard position with Emmanuel Quickley, $4,800, looking for 24 points out, averaging 24 so far on the season. So he looks like a decent play, maybe even if Jalen Brunson ends up playing and is a little bit limited minutes-wise. But ultimately, if Brunson gets ruled out tonight because of that ankle injury, Emmanuel Quickley should be the ultimate chalk play at $4,800. Very reasonable price tag. Currently having projected for 28 tonight. Obviously, that could go up and up, if Brunson misses tonight just in general. But even if Brunson plays, let's just say they hold Brunson to 30 minutes, then, there might be a couple extra minutes for go around for a guy like Emmanuel Quickley and even pay off at this price tag at that. Then at shooting guard, we're going to go with Tim Hardaway Jr., $5,400. We already talked about all those injuries for the Dallas Mavericks over on the injury side. And there's just not a lot of guys left to go around there. It's a good matchup for Memphis tonight. Should be pretty favorable for him. We'll see whether or not he ultimately ends up starting or not. But even if he doesn't start, he played 37 minutes in their most recent game, looking for 27 points out. Currently, I'm projected for 28 tonight. And then at small forward, we're going right back to Bojan Bogdanovic, still $6,500, looking for 32, 33 out of him, averaging about 30 so far on the season. Last game wasn't the greatest for him and this Pistons team overall. They go against the Pacers, which is the pace-up spot tonight, so it should be a pretty back-and-forth game, high-scoring game. Currently, I'm projected for 35 once again tonight. And then at power forward, we're going to go with Victor Wembanyama here at $8,800, looking for 44 out of him, averaging about 43 so far on the season. If he starts at the center position once again tonight, I'll be very interested in him. Got him currently projected for, about 48 to 49 points. If that's the case, as long as he stays out of foul trouble versus Anthony Sengun, should be a pretty good game for him overall. And then at center, we're going with Isaiah Hartenstein. Obviously, no Mitchell Robinson tonight. Hartenstein played 20 minutes in their most recent game. We might see a little bit of Jericho Sims as well, but At this point in time, Hartenstein does look pretty favorable. It's not the greatest matchup in the world versus Toronto, but still should be pretty decent in terms of fantasy points per dollar at this point. $4,600. Looking for 23 out of him. Currently, I'm projected for 28 fantasy points tonight. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have listed, you have $19,900 remaining, which is just over $6,600 per player remaining. So you definitely have the opportunity and option to pay up for another star player if that's something you want to do. If you want to take a little bit more of a balanced build from here, you can definitely do that as well. And then as always, there's going to be some value that probably does open up throughout the day, especially as we do get some of these injury updates. So definitely be sure you're checking up for that updated core as we do get closer to lock. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to FanDuel and talk about my core picks over there as well. So we're going to start off at the point guard position with Kobe White, who is $7,300. Actually, if you look at what he's done lately, it's probably just underpriced as well. And there's probably no Alex Caruso tonight. There's definitely no Zach LaVine. So it's DeMar DeRozan, Kobe White, and Nikolai Vucevic at this point in time. He did play pretty well versus the Bucks in their most recent game against them. Looking for 36, 37 points on him. Currently, I'm projected for 38. He's been getting close to 40 a lot of games as of late. So definitely has some pretty high on upside, playing the minutes, going out there, shooting the ball. As long as he's playing well, he's going to look like a really good play overall on today's slate. Then at shooting guard, we're going to go to Emmanuel quickly. He's $5,100 on the FanDuel side, so a little bit more pricey here by $300. Looking for 25, 26 out of him. This is one more so if Brunson's unable to go, but still would like him for around 28 fantasy points tonight. Definitely has some upside for more if he's going out there, if he's getting the start, if he's playing 30-plus minutes just in general. And then we get down to small forward, Bogdan Bogdanovic, once again, $6,200. Pace-up spot versus the Pacers tonight, looking for 31 out of him, averaging just under 30 on the season. There was that one bad game the last time out. But as long as this game remains competitive, he's going to look really good overall. Currently, I'm projected for 34 fantasy points tonight. And then we move down to that power forward position with Isaiah Hartenstein, $4,900, looking for 24, 25 out of him. There is no Mitchell Robinson tonight, so he should get you again the start and most of the minutes at center. You could see a little bit of Jericho Sims as well, but currently do have him projected for 28 fantasy points tonight. And I did see earlier that I was trying to put Orlando Robinson in here, and somehow we ended up with Duncan Robinson. So just going to change that here real quick. So we're going to put Orlando Robinson for our center position at $5,400. Going against the Charlotte Hornets tonight should be a pretty good pace-up spot just in general. If he's out there, if he's playing the minutes, he's going to look like a really good option overall. At $5,400, we're looking for 27 out of him. Currently, I'm projected for 29 once again. Going against Nick Richards on the opposing side. There is the chance this game goes small, but even at that, I don't think Miami is a team that's going to want to go small as much unless they're putting Kevin Love at that center position just in general. But with that being said, if you go to these 5 players on FanDuel, you have $31,100 remaining, just under $7,800 per player. So a good amount of money left over, whether you want to pay up for a stud or two and then pay down elsewhere, or whether you want to take a little bit more balanced approach on today's slate overall. Once again, it is a 13-game main slate. There's always a lot that could change throughout the day. It could get a lot of value that doesn't open up throughout the day. So once again, make sure that you are checking that updated core about 15 to 20 minutes prior to lock as the pin comment. If there's any other changes after that point in time, I will leave them as a reply to the pin comment as well. But with that being said, these are my picks for both FanDuel and DraftKings for today, December 11th. As always, if you have any questions related to NBA DFS, be sure to leave them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. I would ask that you please note whether those questions are FanDuel or DraftKings specific, just so I can best help you as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then, as always, I will be listing all the injury updates throughout the day, as well as the starting lineups throughout the night. And then, once again, that updated core will be posted about 15 to 20 minutes prior to lock, or as those changes do become available. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking it out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now we have NBA DFS Monday through Friday in terms of the core pick videos. And then typically on Saturday, I do my NFL DFS player pool video. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get to this past weekend. Had a lot going on, so I had to kind of prioritize a couple other things. So I do apologize for that. My NFL DFS cheat sheets were still up on the sports affiliation website, as well as me providing my NFL DFS player pool for free on the YouTube community tab. So hopefully you guys were able to access that. Hopefully you had some good success in NFL DFS as well. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS, Parlay Play, and Prize Picks. If you are a brand new user to any one of those 3 sites, when you make your first deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus on Prize Picks and Parlay Play. It's up to $100. So if you put $10 in, they'll match it to $10. If you put $100 in, they'll give you $100 match. So pretty good opportunity over there. And then for BetUS, it is 125% of your initial deposit. So let's just say you put $100 in, you get $125 back as your bonus cash. And then if you put $2,000 in, you'd get $2,500 back. So some pretty good opportunities over there if you're interested in getting into sports betting or prop betting just in general. If you have any questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out, whether it's down in the comments or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and I'd be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in NBA DFS tonight.